Okay, so let's go look at the example on page 440 where they're changing the date of birth to a number, a 4-digit number with no decimal point. And then they want to add a constraint here because now that they have it as a number, then they can go in and do something a little bit more sophisticated. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, that kind of makes sense. But what if somebody had put the word hello in there rather than 4 digits? Right? What would happen? Well, none of it would have done. So there's another technique you can use. It's using a function called try convert. Let me give you an example. So let's say that we had a table and we created a new column with a different data type. So for example, I'm going to do update artist. And then I'm going to say set, and this thing called new, whatever the new column is. New year of birth. Is equal to, and I'm going to say try convert, and give it the data type, which is going to be int, and then the column, which is the old version of year of birth. Now, the beauty of this is, unlike the previous example, this, when it comes across an error, it'll just keep on going. What it'll do is it'll just put a null in there. If it can convert it, it will. If it can't convert it, it puts a null in. Pretty doggone cool. Okay, on page 444, they talk about, changing minimum cardinality rules. You've got inherited a database. Remember, minimum cardinality is going to have 2 parts to it if it's a 1-to-1, right? If it's a 1-to-1, it's going to be both the null or not null, and then the unique guy. Okay, remember that? Okay, good. So making it unique in a 1-to-1, we just go in there and put in a constraint. No big deal. So minimum cardinality on a 1-to-many, that's pretty easy because we know the foreign key always goes on the many side every single time. And I don't have to worry about the unique thing normally because normally the one side is almost always the primary key. It doesn't have to be, but in practical terms, it's almost always the primary key. So it's very rare that you would actually need a unique in a 1-to-many. Just saying. I mean, it could happen, but it's not. Okay, so if you alter a foreign key, you're probably going to have to drop the constraint first and then alter it. And then go back and put the foreign key back in. Okay, good. All right. All right, so remember the mandatory child versus mandatory parent. So mandatory parent is pretty easy. I just go in there and say not null on my foreign key, and I'm done. Mandatory parent, I need to write a trigger or do something. Sorry. And then maximum cardinality, well, then that's just all about, dropping the foreign key and rebuilding it with null or not null, or altering it. That's it. I mean, remember, because on the maximum cardinality, it's really, just whether or not you allow multiple things. Okay, so on page 448, they start talking about adding a new table with cardinality. I don't think this is very interesting because we've done this before, so I'm moving on. There's the example on page 449. So I'm altering the table, I'm adding a constraint for a foreign key, and it references that, and, okay. I mean, that's no different than what we've done, other than you use the alter command rather than building it up from the very beginning. Okay, so let's just review. We didn't actually learn any new SQL commands at all, unlike Chapter 7. All we learned is some nuances on how to use the things we already learned on how to do correlated subqueries. And the purpose for that was like finding faults before we do normalization. And then how to deal with tables that already have data in them, like adding a null column, or copying with auto number, or changing data types. Okay, so those are the things that we learned today. It's all about working with tables that have data in them. Okay, we've reached the end of this chapter, and I'll see you guys again in the next chapter.